Good afternoon, Breakdown listeners. I am your humble, not so humble talking hairdo, Ben. It's good to see all of you here. Got a nice live audience today here in the studio. We come to you from the Neon Parrot Live Studios, located at the historic Majestic Coffee Shop in downtown Abilene, Texas, which is where we begin today in Abilene, Texas. This is funny, though. I got something to close with later, a little David Blaine action. That guy kissed a cobra, turns out. Okay. I would like to thank my wonderful technical producer extraordinaire, Sam Wolf. This is all his cool equipment. Not his nunchucks, though. But anyways, got some fun toys here today. Lots of topics. We're going to start today. Well, first of all, the Chicago Bears got a new coach and a new pope all at the same year. That's pretty cool, but I digress. We're going to go into this. It's significant to Abilene, Texas, but it's also significant to everyone. It's we've talked about artificial intelligence to some degree on this program over the last year, just about. This is episode, I think, 30 or something now. But my regular co-host, Blake, the resident Viking Aggie, is not with us again today, but he may be with us soon. But we've ranted and raved about, all this artificial intelligence business that everybody's just all in. Everyone, except for a few, people that are looked at like myself as dinosaurs or old man, get off my lawn, whatever. But anyways, I'm going to just put it all in front of us here today on what we know. And Trav from the Travie Wavy show before mine, which you should watch. He had one of the owner of the King's Collective barbershop on and interviewed her. It's great. Check it out. But anyways, him and Sammy, my producer, and I watched a video about the Lancium / Stargate project on the northwest side of Abilene. And this, folks, is a megastructure for our area. Okay, it may not be considered a megastructure, but I will have you know that this thing, I'm going to be driving out there tomorrow, and I'm going to look at it. Now, what's funny about this is I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to get very close, and that I will talk about that next week's show, what my findings were when I actually physically attempted to get close to this facility under construction. Okay? So we watched this video that was made by, I can't remember what the video is, but Sammy should be having some of this on your screen that you can see right now. Okay. But it is basically about the Lancium Stargate project. And what I found interesting in this video is they went to Spanky Peace Tavern to do some interviewing and things like this. And the locals, our show is watched by people we know. Big Frank, which we're going to talk to here in a little bit on the show. He's from Chicago. We have people that watch from South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Houston, Texas, North Carolina. We have viewers all over the country. But Spanky Peace Tavern, a guy got killed there like 6 months ago. So, that's not a real great perception if you're bringing this video to the rest of the country, that you're investing $500. You're not investing. I guess Sam Altman, the owner of maybe this OpenAI. Sam Altman is interviewed in this video as well, and we're talking about almost like half a trillion dollars, I think. And one of the guys in the video doesn't pronounce Abilene correctly, which Sammy brought to my attention, and then I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh. So it's just really weird. Abilene is a small, mid-sized sedan of a city, as I like to call it, but like we have some serious intellectual, academia, business, finance, oil. We have, real estate. We have a lot of things going on in this city, and we're right in between Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin. And this video, to me, kind of makes us look like a bunch of hillbillies that are just so lucky to have, all this money getting pumped into our little one-horse town of a town. And that's just, I didn't really like that. The perception. They could have gone to anywhere but Spanky Peas. Like, literally anywhere. Maybe the coffee shop that I'm in right now. Maybe, I don't know, one of the many local businesses that that aren't dive bars. I just don't know what their angle is there. So Sammy also brought it to my attention that the Stargate, the building looks like the Stargate thing from the show. And this is all just getting weird. And I'm a sci-fi fan. I'm a fan of lots of theater and movies and books. But I'm first and foremost into nonfiction, works of nonfiction, history. And like anytime the government, the people, the power players in our economy or in any country's economy are all in at the same time, a lot of that, Europe in the 1930s, anyone, there's just some history always repeats itself. Sometimes it takes a while, but it tends to do that. And I'd like to say I'm very concerned about all this, but I don't know that it matters. I do have a platform to speak to you all about what this means going forward, and as long as I have this platform, I'm going to shine a light on all this stuff. And like my kids use ChatGPT for stuff. Everybody I know is using AI for something, and they don't know how to regulate this. I'm not a big regulation person, but this, and initially this Lancium Stargate project was going to be a Bitcoin type mining center, and then it changed, and then it's still somewhat vague about what this is. And I encourage all of you to watch the video that Sammy's put clips of up, or stills. I can't see it from here right now, but this is all kind of turning into a big WTF moment for me, because this train is just going full speed ahead with no stopping in sight. And I think, and then I'm going to move into my next topic that relates to this in some ways, and it's all about technology and its growth and the byproducts of this. So I'm going to move on to the city that we are in, Abilene, Texas, for which we have somewhere, give or take, around 120 to 130,000 people in the city of Abilene. And for which only 4,000, I think almost 5,000 people voted in the last city council election, which had bond consequences, which ended up sending millions and millions of dollars to the Abilene airport to upgrade it. You know, 5,000 people determine the outcome of what happens in this city that 130,000 people live in, give or take. So I have really, I don't feel sorry for anyone in this town that doesn't like an outcome. I don't, because collectively we don't vote here. We don't. So that means the people that are voting are the people that run this city. And those are the people with deep pockets and crispy Italian suits. And they do exist here in Abilene, Texas. And if you don't believe me, just walk around downtown, okay? We got the Wolf of Pine Street. We got the First Financial fella that owns the whole damn town. I won't drop his name because I'm probably going to open an account there because I hate my bank currently. I'll get into that in a minute. But so on April 18th, so we are told 477 gigabytes of data were stolen from the city of Abilene services by a group of Russian hackers that go by the name of, I might butcher this, but I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, Kilik. Starts with a Q, Q-I-L-I-K. I'm going to call it Kalin. Kalin. Okay. Thank you, Sammy. It is Kalin. I don't know why I put a K on there. Yeah, right. So, so we get this story from the city of Abilene. So apparently all the services on the 18th were, on April 18th, were shut down for some time. And what we're learning is multiple city departments were taken offline completely. So that's we don't have the exact information on what city departments, but I think it were some pretty important ones. This group, Kalin, claims to have stolen blah blah blah. Here's where it gets interesting, Abilenians. Kalin is demanding a ransom to be paid by the city by May 27th. That's next week. If you're looking in live. They don't really say the number, okay? We're not getting a lot of information on what the ransom is, but it doesn't look like it matters because the city has said in a statement they have been working with cybersecurity professionals and have been given advice not to pay the ransom, which I get that because you pay them once, what happens next? Do they even go through, hostage negotiating, ransoms, whatever you're talking about, you just don't know what you're going to get. But essentially, this is not good, okay? This same group, Kalin, is also responsible for the London hospital cyber attacks that occurred in 2023. Those attacks shut down testing, all kinds of different actual machines that were going on in this London hospital. It affected like dozens of GPs, general practitioners that are trying to care for people. So to kind of sort of start closing this topic up, and I appreciate you guys. I know this is a sports show, but we like to go off the rails on all kinds of things on the breakdown with your not so humble host, Ben. But why I bring this up as well is what we are doing is all speed ahead on new technology and on everything that we can get our hands on, AI. But where is the investment or the true concern that you show me your concern about cybersecurity? Where's that? Because I don't see it. What I see is us responding to cyber attacks. And where's the investment in preemptively preparing ourselves for these attacks that are always coming, hitting us left and right. We basically, every time this happens, we just throw up our hands and we're like, whoops, we're going to get somebody right on that. Well, what happens when people are truly affected for more than hours and or a day or two from this? What's going on in Newark, New Jersey, with their airports and all this air traffic control issues happening? There's just a bunch of, oops. Well, let's get somebody on that right away. Well, that hasn't had any catastrophic, consequences thus far. But these Kalin guys, they picked the right city in Abilene. Because, we're screwed if they really want to do something to us. What the hell are we going to do? Our elected officials here are less than savory, okay? You can literally just get a few hundred people to vote for you in this town, and you can totally sway an election, swing it. I'm not going to go into personally attacking the people that run this city, but it ain't that good, folks. And I vote every time I get a chance, and it does matter when I vote in an election here. Sometimes it goes the way I want it to, sometimes it doesn't. But what I don't see is our investment in cybersecurity. What I do see is private companies that are cybersecurity people. We've got one right down the street here on South 1st Street downtown that charge a hell of a lot of money for their services because they're one of the best around here. But there's I don't see any investment in our defense department, if you will, for which that budget is pretty damn high. We could get people going on that too. But I don't know. This is something to think about. Something that's been on my mind here in Abilene, Texas, as we embark on truly an enormous project that we can't really get a solid answer to what it is. And that's where I'm at. As your host, I love sports. That's what I like to keep this show about. But a lot of my viewers and listeners are local to Abilene, Texas, and this affects us directly. They're when you come at me with jobs, money, and the school district is gonna benefit from all this, that's whenever I'm not gonna tell you how old I am because I don't want to, but I've seen this before. I've lived long enough to see this kind of stuff. And it never changes. You dangle some money in front of people, and they're like, sure, come on in, let's do it. I have a source that has someone inside one of these departments that's their family member that let me know that before this cyber attack actually took place, the city received an email with a warning that this was going to happen. Now, that is hearsay. That is something that I can't confirm personally. But this source of mine, I trust. So that's very interesting. Where are we going? What are we doing? And here in Abilene, Texas, if you want to build Stargate, maybe it's a Bitcoin mine. No. Maybe it's a data collecting center. No. That's where we're going to have all the chips. Nobody knows. So there's my rant for today, for this week. And I spent more time on that than I generally do on this primarily sports show. But there's no football on right now, guys. So what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm talking about Skynet, Starlink, what the hell ever. Russian cyber hackers. So we're going to put that to bed for now, and we're going to move on. Thank you guys for tuning in for that. It wasn't a rant. I think it was something that we all should be paying attention to. Now, Ben got himself a win last night with the Pacers, okay? We are in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals of the NBA, which I don't even blink at during the regular season because it is softer than my pillow at home. Okay? So it is hard to watch. It is hard to watch, but it gets more interesting in the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, because these guys start playing defense, and because they know if they want to win, they actually have to play defense, and it does get pretty annoying just watching them shoot three after three and miss after miss. Basically, what determines the winner of each one of these games, and this may sound stupid or cliche, but who makes the most baskets? But it's just a different game of basketball than what most of us grew up seeing. So if a team's hot and hitting threes, they're gonna win the game, okay? And if they're not, then it's gonna be a low scoring game, and you better take the under. But last night, me and my friend that like to wager together, we picked the Pacers to upset the Knicks in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, and it went into overtime on a buzzer beating shot, and it was actually a really fun game to watch. And the Pacers pulled it off by like 3 points at the end. The money line, it was a huge win. It was a big win. Also, a week or two ago, I won my first NASCAR bet of all time, and couldn't believe it. I was thrilled because I usually, Ben talks a lot as I speak in the third person about my losses, but I was like, you know what, I need to talk about when I do win. And this weekend we have the Indy 500, which is absolutely crazy. If you're not a racing fan, it doesn't matter. Watch it because you're talking about the interesting thing about the Indy 500 is they're in the Indy cars, the open wheel cars. These cars are not generally, when they're doing the F1 races and things and Grand Prix, they don't maximize their speed at the levels that they do for circle track, which is the Indy 500. So you've got basically Formula One cars going 20 to 30 miles an hour faster than what they normally go. So, and these cars, they're not like a NASCAR stock car where they got, some protection cage around them. These dudes don't even have, their heads are sticking out of this thing. So you talk about having a bad wreck or something. I mean, these guys can lose their lives. Now, that's not why I'm excited to watch it, but it is definitely way more dangerous than what these guys are generally doing with these cars. I don't know why they pour milk on themselves if they win, or I think that's a little strange, but that's part of the thing. If you win, and there's this one dude, he won 2 in a row, and he's looking to three-peat, so I'm not betting on that guy. He ain't going to win 3 times in a row. No way. What is his name? Joseph Lundgarden, some German-sounding fella. But we'll get into that a little more. But give the Indy 500 a shot on Sunday. The coverage starts at 10 a.m. It's a huge thing. It's really fun. A buddy of mine was going to hook me up with some tickets, but I couldn't make it work because I can't hardly ever leave town. That's why I'm so obsessed with all things Abilene, Texas, because I can't ever get the hell out of here for very long. So maybe that'll change soon. Tonight we got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Timberwolves. Okay? I'm pretty excited about that one. I think I might be taking the Wolves tonight. We're going to get into this topic with Big Frank here in a minute. And then I want to talk about the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese drama that is just so good. So I'll tell you guys one thing. And I know I'm not the only ones because the ratings tell the tale and the truth. I have not watched one WNBA game in my entire life until Caitlin Clark made it to the WNBA last year. And she's so good. And what's also interesting, her and Angel Reese, they were big rivals in college, okay? Now, I have watched a lot of women's college basketball in my lifetime. I love it. The WNBA just hasn't always translated for me. Uh, don't really know why, and now I've learned why, and it's because they don't really have superstars that are just out of this world in the league, and now they do, and they've got more than one. But Caitlin Clark, she can shoot, man. She's one of the best shooters, maybe male or female, that I've ever seen. And her rival Angel Reese is on. Caitlin is on the Indiana Fever, and which I'm probably gonna get me a shirt. You know, I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan right now. But anyways, Angel Reese is her former LSU uh, rival, and her and Angel Reese, every time they meet, these ratings for the WNBA games are astronomical. I think that's a word, astronomical. That's okay. But anyways, they're just out of this world, and Angel Reese is always starting business with Caitlyn, and they're getting into it. But I think it's great because every like superstar, every hero needs a heel. Needs, you know, and Angel Reese is this perfect kind of villain in this story, you know? And it's awesome. And it's making the sports talking hairdos like myself lose their mind over all different kinds of reasons. Okay. And whatever, like these guys are personally attacking each other and their families over this Caitlin Clark Angel Reese drama. And it's entertaining to me, but it's a little silly. We're going to kind of get into that. But Robert Griffin III and Ryan Clark have gotten into it because Ryan Clark says, you don't understand because you married a white woman and not a black woman. Robert Griffin III is a black man, and he's just like, wait a minute, whoa, why are you bringing my wife into this deal? You know, but the point is that the WNBA hasn't had this much coverage or like excitement ever. So yeah, tune into the next Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark game because they're all on prime time and they're all televised on like ABC or something. So get on to that. Okay. Pacers next. Okay, we're going to get right to Big Frank, and then we'll close her up probably with Big Frank because we've got a couple of NFL topics to talk about here. And I know he wants to talk a little basketball, some hoops. I didn't mention wrestling today, which is kind of a sad thing. I have been watching. I almost wore my wrestling shirt.
Hello.
Hey, Big Frank, how we doing today?
What's going on, Ben? How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great.
Good. Long time no hear. You were off for there a couple weeks, no?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Had a graduation happen.
There you go. You go.
Getting kids moved on to the next phase. You know.
You got it. Takes a lot of time.
That's
They
right.
grow up.
That's right. So, man, we've got some good relevant NFL topics that I'd like to start with. So I'm going to hit you with some questions, and then I'd like to get your take on some hoops, on some NBA after that.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So we learned yesterday about 11 o'clock my time that the tush push, or as I like to call it, the brotherly shove, is not going to be banned. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think it's a football play that it's kind of hard to stop. I think teams should have to come up with different ways to try to stop it. I look at it, for instance, like when I see it, I said I'm looking at this, and it's like everybody's down real low, right? And the defense tries to get lower because the offensive line is getting lower. What happens if you had your whole defensive line just stand straight up? And if these guys are going to go down, you just push them down and then have your linebackers just like fly in there to try to stop it. The problem is the defense has got like 5 or 6 guys down and they're trying to get lower. Their heads are almost on the ground, and then the offense is there and then they get them down. And then you got the 2 guys behind the quarterback, right, that's pushing them. Why not? Why not just let them go down and then just try to go up high? Because you can't stop it the way they're doing it, or do a tush push on the defensive side. Why not have the lineman down like that and then have your middle linebacker with your two outside guys just pushing that scrum back, like they do. I think they just got to come up with different ways to be a little bit more creative to stop it because what do you got to lose? I think the success rate on it is if you're good at it. If you got a good offensive line and your quarterback is good, and the two guys behind pushing, that you're gonna. It's usually done with a yard or less to go. So the success rate's got to be pretty high. So what have you got to lose? Just try something different to try to stop it. That's how I look at it. So.
Yeah, and I love it how the Packers. I know you love the Packers. I love it how like they're leading the charge against this thing. It's kind of lame.
Yeah, apparently the Bears voted to ban it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was watching the show today. They had put out the 10 teams that voted not to ban it. And it was like the Eagles, Titans, the Bills. I think the Steelers were in there because they needed 24 teams to overturn it, and they only got 22 to do it. So they listed the 10 that said no, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a play that really is warranting all the information on it, because again, if it's fourth and less than a yard and you're going to go for it, you're going to get it most of the time. So just forget about it and get ready for the next set of downs and try to avoid getting it where it's third and less than a yard.
Absolutely. It's funny that they're putting so much emphasis on this one play when there's a lot of other things that I think that they should maybe be concerning themselves with. You know what I mean?
I think they're just upset with it because it's the Eagles, and obviously they won the Super Bowl, and they're so good at it, and it seems like nobody's has stopped it yet. But I don't think anybody really else is trying it with the success rate, because I couldn't see the Bears doing it last year. You didn't have an offensive line. I mean, the Eagles' offensive line arguably is one of the best in the league. And Jalen Hurts is a big dude, and the guys behind him. So you get that much weight going forward. Yeah, it is going to stop it, for less than a yard. So if it's a big play, you want to put it in your arsenal, well, do it. Get a good offensive lineman and a big guy in there to take the snap and go. So, I mean, I'm not upset that they didn't ban it. It's just a play that, I think doesn't really matter much in the scope of things, as far as when it's fourth and less than a yard, you're pretty much going to get it anyway. So,
Yeah, and it's like you said, if you're good at it, like I mean, let's go back not that far back in time. Tom Brady, gosh, every time he QB sneaked it, he got it almost.
Yeah. It's like I say, you're going to have a success rate on that for less than a yard. And I think the bigger issue is the same issues. You have more teams going for it on fourth down now, and it doesn't matter where you're at. It used to be if you were, in the opposing territory, it's okay. But you guys you got teams going for it in their own territory because they think they want to get it. So it's a big push, because I think you see more fourth down plays for teams going for it. Where it used to be years ago, even if it was fourth and one and you didn't have this tish push design, teams were punting the ball all the time because they didn't want to give it away,
Exactly.
And so I think that philosophy, you got more and more teams going for it on fourth down now, that it's just something that they came up with. And then until you can come up with a way to stop it, it's just going to continue to go. But I don't think banning the play is the right thing for it too. It's just a football play, in my opinion. So
Absolutely. I think that, one of the things that concerns me the most is just like how what we've done to the kickoff. I kind of hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're trying to change it now. I guess you can do an onside anytime you want now, but you have to be down. But still, the idea of the onside was the surprise of not knowing it, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have to declare that you're going to go for it, everybody knows it's coming. I mean, granted, even most of the times before they did the rule changes, you usually did it at the end of the game when you were behind, and kind of everybody knew it was coming anyway. But they're trying to put that back into play too. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. It very seldom works. I think obviously there was only 2 successful onside kick recoveries last year, and ironically, the Bears were one of the teams that got them, and I forget whoever else it was, but anybody else that tried it was a failure at it. So I think they're just trying to bring back another play in the game that makes it exciting, I guess.
Right.
So.
All right. So my next topic is, and this isn't super relevant to football, but well, it is. But the flag football and the Olympics thing, what are we doing to the Olympics? Is everything always about money, or what is the deal? Because I just don't get it, man. What do you think?
And I don't think, they want to say, okay, you can go ahead and play it, but there's so many good, college football players in there, or guys like, in the UFL. If I'm an owner of an NFL team, and they put these things in their contracts all the time. I mean, I put it in there and say, look, at man, you can't play in the Olympics because those are the times where you tear your knee or your ACL or your all kinds of non-contact injuries when you get with the cuttings and stuff like that. So you're gonna have a guy in the Olympics in the summer before training camp starts, and then goes and gets hurt and is out for the year. I mean, I can't see a lot of the big name football players. Obviously, if you're a third and fourth stringer, you're on a practice squad. Yeah, go for it if that's what you want to do. But if they're trying to get tier 1 talent, but I mean, can you see Justin Jefferson or Patrick Mahomes or any of those guys going to play flag football in the Olympics and get hurt?
Oh man, that would be devastating to the franchise.
Fan would be just ridiculous. So I think that's just something silly that they said, yeah, go ahead if you want to do it. But man, if I'm an owner, I got to make sure double, triple check in the contract that, hey man, you're making enough money the way it is now. You're not going to get any money in the Olympics. You really are just playing for the gold medal. And to say that, you won a medal for your country, I just don't see the upside for an NFL player, a top tier one, to go into flag football. I don't see that one at all.
Me neither, man. I'll tell you that right now. But so let's see here. I see where the Bears got a new coach and a new pope all in the same year.
Correct. Yes, the big we got a pope who was actually born on the south side here of Chicago, and he's a huge baseball fan, but he's a White Sox fan, and he's a Bears fan, and things like that. Ever since this guy was elected to pope, every day, here in Chicago, there's a story about, they got a picture from him where he sat for the World Series when the White Sox won it in 2006. They actually got a picture of the seat, and now there's talk Sox are going to take that seat out and replace it, and put it in their museum and like that. Where he was born is a suburb south of the city. It's called Dalton, and it's a very depressed area now. I mean, just very, very depressed. And his home where he was born, he has two brothers and him, and it's this little 1,000-foot square home that the owner has been trying to sell it for the last couple of years. And since he's became pope, the big thing down here now is there's a big fight. The city wants to use this eminent domain to buy it, and the guy thinks, no, now I can get literally hundreds of thousands of dollars because it's supposed to be a shrine. So it's just now starting with all the stuff. He's got Bear jerseys with his name on it, White Sox jerseys with his name on it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's crazy. So
well, congratulations to the people of Chicago. I love it for you guys.
Yes, there's a lot of excitement for the Catholics in this state and in the city now. So
absolutely, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Well, we saw that, man. The last time we talked was a couple weeks back, and it was before Backlash, and we did get to see for WWE, and Pat McAfee put up a good fight against Gunther.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting a little bit more.
Me too.
But it was classic. And then the last one, the Randy Orton, what's his name?
John Cena.
Yeah, and the Randy Orton one was another, a classic one too. But the McAfee one was he put up a good fight. I thought for sure there was going to be some interference from somebody else to help him.
Yeah.
So it kind of was a little bit of a. I don't know. I would have expected a little bit more out of it, but still, it was classic. It's classic WWE wrestling. I mean, it's fun. So
Yeah, it's right. So, but I did have fun with that one. And then what about? I actually picked a winner last night in that Pacers Knicks game. I actually took the upset for the Pacers.
Yeah, Indiana has been doing that. Every series they come from behind like that. I mean, last night, obviously you're watching it, and they were down 14 points with like only 3 minutes left to go and 2 minutes, and you think, well, it's easy, and then that one guy keeps on shooting the threes, and then Halliburton, hits that one where you could have ended it. He thought it was a three, but it wasn't. And then they go in and they just do that. I think Indiana's tough. I think Indiana really could win that series. I think their bench is a little bit deeper and they like to run, man. And once they get out and run, they're good. I mean, it's like, and they went into the conference finals last year, and the Celtics were a much better team than them. But this year with the Knicks, they're kind of like matched pretty evenly,
Yeah.
I think. And to steal one there, now you got the home court, coming back. So it should be pretty interesting. I think they could do it. I think they could win it.
Yeah, and that's this is my favorite part of the NBA season, not just the playoffs, because everybody gets in the playoffs, it seems like, but when we get to the conference finals, I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. You usually hope that that's because it's always the best of seven. You're going to get the good teams that are really playing good at the end of the year that made it, and you're going to get a good matchup. So yeah, it's always good to watch too. So just like, man, your hockey with your Dallas team, man.
Oh my gosh.
There's another one. I was going back and forth last night, and they were down 3-1, and then they scored 3 goals, and they wound up winning the game 6-3. I mean, those guys they're playing tough, man.
Yeah, the Stars have really shocked Texas because they've been like a pretty big letdown for us for a really long time, because they always have like pretty good teams that get in the playoffs and just can't pull it off,
Lose first round or second round,
Yeah, so everybody's just been like, okay, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, and like they keep winning,
Oh yeah, it was a couple series ago. They scored with like 2 or 3 seconds left to go in the game. I think it was send it into overtime. So it's fun to watch, especially playoff hockey with game sevens and stuff like that. But I've been watching them a lot lately. Like I say, they're always on when the basketball's on, and you gotta flick back and forth to different channels sometimes.
Right.
So. But yeah, they're pretty good. They could do it. They could make the finals. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're really keeping our fingers crossed. We're cautiously optimistic with our Stars over here.
You got it.
But so who you got tonight? OKC, the Thunder versus the Timberwolves.
I just from the regular season on, I don't think anybody can stop Oklahoma City. Whoever even wins in the East, whether it's New York or Indiana, that's a team that just, once they get rolling, man, even if they get behind, they just keep on throwing guys at you, and then they bring in Caruso for defense, and then they stop them. I mean, I just don't see anybody beating Oklahoma City. I really don't. If they lose, it's because their guys got cold at the end, or something like that, and you couldn't get everybody going. But they just look like they're unbeatable. Such a young team too. That man, they look tough to beat. I'd be surprised if anybody could beat them this year. I would say that they're odds-on favorite, in my opinion, to win it all. So,
Well, I hope you're right because, Oklahoma is somewhat close to where we are. And
yeah,
I guess it's probably been over 10 years ago when Durant and Harden and all those guys were on that team. And they
mm-hmm.
maybe they were just too young or something, but they just couldn't win it.
Yeah,
And that was kind of we were all around here. We were all pulling for the Thunder, back then,
yeah.
and it would be I would just Oklahoma. There's not a lot going on there,
No,
as a state.
not at
This is
all.
kind of so I'm pulling for them to have some victory here, so that they can
Yeah.
have something to be happy about around that place.
And by having all those guys and they traded them, that's how they got all these first round picks that are playing good. And they still have a bunch more first round picks that they got. And being young, they're going to be good for a long, long time, man. That's a tough team. I mean, we don't get to see them that much, obviously, over here, only unless they're on national television. But whenever you watch them, play, they just dominate the game, man. So I think they're going to do it. So I really do.
That's awesome. I hope you're right, man. The other thing, before I got you on the line here, I was kind of sort of starting to break down how much I can't remember ever really watching the WNBA until Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always watched a lot of women's college basketball, but not a lot of WNBA. And now every time like those two teams particularly are playing, I'm watching.
Oh, yeah, it was last week. I think it was Saturday was their opening game, and I mean, Indiana blew them out. I mean, they just crushed them. But you had Clark foul Angel Reese late in the game, and she kind of took exception to it, and there was words said and stuff like that. So you kind of going to have that rivalry, throughout the year with those two teams. But they just absolutely made the Sky look crappy. I mean, I think they beat them by like 25 points or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was pretty rough. Well, and then
Yeah.
Kaylin Clark can just shoot from anywhere. It's pretty wild. She might be one of the best shooters I've ever
Yeah.
seen, male or female.
It's a fun watch, the WNBA. I mean, they got a lot of good teams, and they're on national television a lot. ESPN is going to be carrying some of their games, and then on the weekends, ABC has got them. This time of year, because it's basically a downtime for sports, other than baseball and the basketball and hockey playoffs are kind of ending. So they're picking the right time to have their season where they can
Absolutely.
interest in it. So yeah, I think every time those two play, you're gonna see a little bit of fireworks.
Yeah, and the ratings just for all the games, I was looking into this. Like
Yeah.
just this year, the WNBA ratings is like tripling what they've ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that's pretty exciting because
Yeah.
I'm watching like not just the Fever, but I'm watching a lot of the other different teams. And now you got the Paige Becker's girl in there.
Dallas on the thing. So that's she's a big draw.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one. When Caitlin Clark, I think this weekend's game or something, or next weekend it's Dallas against Indiana. So that's Paige Becker against Caitlin Clark. So that one I think is on national television to see it. So it's good basketball to watch.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in.
yeah.
And then we got, I'm a big racing fan now. So the Indy 500 is also on Sunday.
Correct. Yes. That's always the Memorial Day weekend for it. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah, that's always a fun time. They always say that that's one of the sports bucket lists to go to. We used to have some friends, a buddy of mine, a couple of them. They used to go every year, and they said the infield in that thing is actually there's an actual 9-hole golf course, I guess.
Really?
On infield of that, and they used to bring back some videos of the stuff that went on in the infield, like wild stuff, man. I mean, they say the Indy 500 is one of those bucket lists. trips to go to, if you're a sports fan. And I've never been in. It's only 3.5 hours from us in Indy here. It's a quick ride there, and just never been able to get to it. But everybody says that you got to get to one of those.
Yeah, I have a friend that I'll let him remain nameless, but he was gonna hook me up with some good tickets this year, but I couldn't make it happen. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I have like a year to plan that thing, then maybe I can make it happen.
You get a chance to go if that friend of yours can do it again. That is a must see. They said it's just pretty wild because it's a whole weekend thing. It's actually, I guess, the day before too. They have races other than the one on that they do it on Sunday,
Right.
and it's just a great wild weekend, to go down, and you don't have to be really a racing fan, to enjoy it, but to actually, be at the race too and hear it. He goes, it's just so loud, with these cars going around. He goes, it's really something to see. So.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll be excited to watch that, and I guess I plan on being on air next week.
All right. Sounds because we got to talk. You got to talk about the schedules came out too.
That's right. The schedules did come out.
Yeah, and we open Monday night at home, but then we go away, and then we have Dallas at home the third week. So weather in Chicago in September is beautiful.
Yeah,
and actually go to Vegas for the game because we play Vegas with the Raiders, but it's in Vegas. And then we have our bye week, and then it's like we're home and away. And our schedule, again, for some reason, 3 out of our last 4 games are at home at the end of the year in December in, Chicago, which could be either a nice, cool, 20, 30-degree day, or it could be 25 below zero, snowing or whatever. So, but the Dallas game is early in the year. So, think about. I know we talked about having you come on down for a game. So.
Oh man, maybe we should make this happen.
Yeah, we'll talk about the schedules later. But yeah, it just came out, and I just was briefly looking them over to see, what when teams are coming in and everything like that. And hopefully, the earlier the better, because your good weather around here is almost up till October, and then after October, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It could be either a beautiful day or it could be ugly. So
right. Well, hey, let's do that, and let's make something happen this upcoming season. Whether we go to Dallas, because I also have a connection or two for AT&T Stadium that I could maybe hook us up with a pretty good day.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good.
But man, we're gonna make something fun happen this football season. I do have to go to Soldier Field though. That has to happen.
Yeah, you have to get, especially before they move it, because there's all talk again about moving, and they are going to build a new one
right
wherever. But it's right on the lake, and it's just a good vibe to go down there. There's not a lot of room, and that's one of the problems that they have with it down there, and that's why they're looking to move elsewhere. But it is, if it's a beautiful, gorgeous day down there right outside the lake and the good weather for a tailgate, it's a lot of fun. So
heck yeah. Well, it's good talking to you, Big Frank, and I'll plan on talking to you next week.
We'll talk to you soon. Take care, Ben.
All right, you too, bud. We'll see you. Bye. Oh, yeah. The best part of the show, for me anyways, every day is Big Frank coming on, our resident Illinois, Chicago Bear fan. He got him a new coach, a new quarterback, and a new pope. That's a winner right there. Okay, guys. I think we're about ready to close this up. All I wanted to kind of close the shop up with is 2 things. Buddy D. Grant, who is our resident fight expert, brought me, I think he gave them to me, a pair of legit nunchucks. They're brown. You can't probably see real good, but man, they're really cool, beautiful. They're actually a bit longer than the pair that I have that are very similar. And so I'm actually, that's really cool. Okay, now this is Wall Street Journal. They did a review on David Blaine. And I know that most of us used to watch that show, his show on National Geographic, but it was crazy. And I just wanted to. So he doesn't eat for like, he fasts for like sometimes weeks before his magic shows. One of the reasons is because he has to put a gallon of water in his stomach. That's the lead into the show. Then he puts out a big fire on stage. So I don't know what that looks like, but I can't wait to see it. So, oh my gosh, he doesn't eat 4 or 5 days in between shows. Maybe some Pedialyte, coconut water. Let's see here. Okay, in your National Geographic series, you kiss a king cobra. Why? Said he was in Indonesia and he watched a snake charmer, Yanyan Novinia, kiss the king cobra. And it was this beautiful moment, this real connection with one of the most dangerous creatures on the planet. I was immediately obsessed with the idea, but I didn't think I was going to be able to do it because if I did it and if I did anything wrong, I would have basically died. Then he went to Thailand, met somebody that lives with 100 venomous snakes, lives with them, including a room full of king cobras. He rescues them. That's his passion. It made me see the king cobra in a different way. No. Then I gave it water and then it started to drink, and I suddenly thought, yeah, I could do this. So he kissed it. Wow. Man, the Wall Street Journal never disappoints. I'm going to read that whole David Blaine thing later, but these guys are just absolutely nuts. I finally got my sword in. Now, Blake is going down because he may be a big guy, but he can't get close to me when I have this. You see? So I'm pretty excited. Got my sword in. That took forever. My neighbor actually, they delivered it to the wrong house, and I had to find it. And the neighbor was like, "Oh yeah, we got a package." And I'm like, "Why didn't you leave it on your porch? Why'd you take it inside? Did you open it?" They didn't, but they would have kept it had they known what was in there. Guaranteed it. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you appreciated the beginning of the show with our Stargate Lancium, whatever the hell that's going to be. We broke that down at the beginning of the show. Lots of NBA. Let's go Thunder tonight. Let's go Oklahoma City Thunder. Beat them Wolves. And we like to always thank Big Frank for joining us. You really do make the show better. And it's always good to talk to you. And would like to thank my producer extraordinaire, Sam Wolf, and for making all this happen and giving us a platform to talk about sports and fun things and interesting things. And I'd like to not thank the city of Abilene because you just continue to kind of let me down right now. And I'd like to encourage all of you to come to Majestic Coffee, where we are located in the Majestic Live Studios right next door. It's connected to, but it's next door. You can get you some Topo Chico. You can get you tea, coffee, all the good stuff. Lots of good. A lot of the people are really loving the pastries over there. I'm always seeing somebody eating the pastries. So come by, get you a coffee at Majestic, downtown Abilene on North 2nd and Pine Street-ish. And y'all have a great day. I can't wait to talk next week, see what's happened with all this Indy 500, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers. We got everything going on here today. And maybe we'll have a special guest next week. We'll see. But anyways, thanks again to my technical producer extraordinaire, Sam Wolf, Sammy to me. And y'all all have a great day out there in YouTube land. And go Raiders, go Bears. Get you a cold drink. And have a great day. We'll see you next week.